When moving to the Lake of the Woods, one of the things that was very important was to find a house with studio space that had enough space in it where I could really set up a working studio. And this is a working studio. I'm down here almost every day creating something. And I consider it now my sort of semi-retirement job. But I come down here and I find that one of the best ways to organize my studio space is to have separate areas set up for individual types of media that I work in, because it was a daunting experience for me to try to shift from one media to the next without sort of the artist block of having to put things away and take things out and always using the same space for different medias. The graphic design area is primarily my computer. My computer is my studio for that. Earlier in my career, when I was doing design work, I really relied upon black and white pen and ink sketches for my illustrating, for my logo design, and the different things I was doing at that time that was being used for publications, for advertising. But now, even within my career, graphic design has shifted to a computer-based format. I use the Adobe suites primarily for that. My jewelry making area is set up so that I can just leave my stones and antique buttons and arrowheads, my all the different pieces that I find. I go to powwows and I go to estate sales. I find things online. Everywhere I go, antique stores, everywhere I go, I find something that could be a possible component for my jewelry. Mostly it's been inspired by the trips that I've taken to the Southwest. Also inspired by the things that I see in museums when I go to museums. My painting area is set up for primarily watercolor. However, recently I've been sort of trying my hand at acrylic painting, which I actually really like. Watercolor, though, seems to be my go-to medium that I go back to all the time. I use it for my watercolor journals, and I paint maybe one painting a day with a little bit of a script to go with it, something that inspired me from the day. Lately, with the stay-at-home time period, I've been walking the neighborhood and I've been doing a watercolor journal on the flowers that I see in my neighbor's yard and also the things that I see along the roadside. Watercolor has a mind of its own. Love it or hate it, it sort of follows the path of least resistance. It follows the water line. And so when it dries, it's like magic. You see edges, either they're crisp or they're hazy. You see pigments that sort of settle out like sediment. And when it's dry, it's like Christmas. You just don't know what you're going to get. I like to think that I'm in more control of my watercolor than I am, but I'm really not. It sort of has a mind of its own. My communication correspondence area, I've got set aside. I like to write letters. I still do. It's the lost art of letter writing. And I also make cards. And one of the things I do, my friends love it, birthdays, just a surprise in the mail. I send them oftentimes one of my homemade watercolor original cards that I make. And I also sell those in galleries too. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist. I'm an artist. I think that we all have a life purpose, and the real gift is if we are given the opportunity and are lucky enough to be able to follow that life path. I find that there's a zen, there's a sort of a meditative quality to being creative. I can come down into my studio and I can lose track of time. And part of what I would like to do, and I feel like I am doing, is bringing inspiration and joy to other artists. And to my friends who are also artists, I would like to say, try to bring art into your life in every way possible. We have so many opportunities every day. You can be artistic in the way you write letters and the way you decorate your house and the way you dress and the way you correspond with your friends. There's so many ways we can be artists in this life, and every time we do it, we really uplift the world around us. Here's to art.